Hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to my channel. My name is Lane, and today in the beautiful state of Ohio, where I live, it is rainy and kind of dreary outside, so I wanted to talk about something kind of spooky, and that would be the ghosts of the Pokemon world. So when I say ghost, I'm not referring to the ghost type Pokemon that everyone knows and loves. I'm speaking about the spirits of those who have passed on, or potentially, I don't know what else there would be, but I wanted to talk about those instances within the Pokemon games. So, with that, go ahead, grab a blanket, get comfortable, grab a snack or drink, and let's get started. Oh, and if you like this type of content, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know. I will try my best to continue doing what I'm doing, but, depression.
Take that, depression!
Alright, so like so many of our Pokemon adventures, this journey does begin in the Kanto region. I know that majority of you are thinking that the Pokemon of Lavender Town are the main thing that I'm going to talk about here, but like I said, I'm not going to be getting into the Pokemon. I'm going to get into the spirits of the deceased, or those who have moved on. So, in the Kanto games, which include Generation 1, 3, and 7, before getting the Silph Scope, several unidentified ghosts, which are in reality Wild, Ghastly, Haunter, or Cubone, do appear in the Pokemon Tower. Another stronger ghost is revealed to be the Mother Marowak, which haunts the tower as a result of her death at the hands of Team Rocket. During the course of the game, the player must obtain a Silph Scope and become the ghost Marowak by battling it or reuniting it with its child, Cubone. Now, I didn't really want to talk about this because it is a Pokemon, but the fact that it spoke, it told the player to be gone or to leave, it always sent fear into me as a child, and I wanted to include that just because that was terrifying to a 6-year-old Lane. But more importantly, additionally, a girl in Lavender Town asks the player if they believe in ghosts, later mentioning a white hand on the shoulder. So I think that this is indeed the first case of a deceased person, potentially even a Gengar or a Haunter, because Haunters have the detached hands. But this would be our first case of a ghost in the Pokemon world, of a human. Now surprisingly, I'm going to be jumping forward to the Sinnoh region here, which of course is very famous for 2 instances of ghosts in the same location, that being the Old Chateau. In Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Brilliant Diamond, and Shining Pearl, the Old Chateau is known to be haunted, scaring many citizens of Eterna City. In the chateau, occasionally the ghost of a little girl and a butler appear in the rightmost bottom bedroom, on the 2nd floor, and in the dining hall respectively. They cannot be interacted with and appear to be floating while they move. The little girl appears when the player enters the 4th room from the west, which is next to the bedroom where she randomly appears. When this happens, she looks to the left, where the player is, then moves towards the exit, never being seen on the other side. This can only occur when the player enters this particular room, because the game loads a different map depending on when the room is entered, and the little girl is only programmed to appear in the map in the 4th room. The butler appears to be sitting on the other side of the table in the dining room area. When the player walks forward, he starts moving towards the left, leaving the game window as if going to the kitchen area but never appearing there. So, what happened to these 2 people? The Old Chateau's got a very scary history, and is it possible that there was an accident that caused the demise of both of these individuals? We'll never know. So next we're going to be continuing on in the Sinnoh region, where we are on Sinnoh Route 117, which is just south of the Ice Rock in northern Sinnoh, but it is just north of Mount Coronet. In Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, if the player re-enters this house near the Ice Rock after obtaining the spell tag from the woman inside, the woman has disappeared. The nature of this item, in conjunction with Ace Trainer Olivia's comments of hauntings in the area, implies that this woman was a ghost, specifically a Yukiono. Now, the woman, before giving you the spell tag, actually says, "A person, a rare sight. Thank you for visiting. A gift." Now, in Legends Arceus, this is actually further pushed forward because there's another instance of a Yukiono, but this one actually turns out to be a Frostlass, which is what a Yukiono is based off of. So this woman, the deceased spirit, has hopefully moved on with the giving you of this spell tag. Kind of cryptic, but yeah. Now moving on to Unova. This takes place over Black, White, and Black 2 and White 2, and it's another one of the more famous ghost cases in the Pokemon series, that of course being the ghost of Marvelous Bridge and the Strange House. In Black and White, on certain occasions, the spirit of a young girl will be standing on Marvelous Bridge and will disappear as the player walks towards her. It scared the crap out of me as like a 10-year-old. I was not prepared mentally or emotionally, and yeah. An old lady in the bridge gate to the east of the bridge will explain that the young girl used to play in the area with an Abra before the bridge was built. In Black 2 and White 2, the girl will appear in the Strange House, where she will refer to Abra in the bridge before telling the player to return the Lunar Wing there, which will trigger a battle with Cresselia. Now, the quotes from this girl are kind of important here to tell what happened to her. She says, "An everlasting dark dream, an endless dream of darkness. Dad, Mom, Abra, where are you? In the dark dream, I heard my dad's voice. Forget about the Lunar Wing. Please, just stay here with me." "Oh, the Lunar Wing. I can't take it now, but it'll be okay. Please return the wing to the Pokemon. I was waiting on that bridge so I could return it myself." So, this girl, we don't have word for word evidence, but given the given the story that we have from a similar situation happening in Canalave City in the Sinnoh region, we can tell that this girl was infested with bad dreams from the Pokemon Darkrai, and her parents went ahead, tried to get the Lunar Wing, which they ended up getting from Cresselia, that way they could cure her of her bad dreams, but by the time that all of this happened, it was too late and she was gone. But it does look like once you return the Lunar Wing to Cresselia, she was able to find some peace and she was able to move on past this life. Alright, now I don't have a ton to say about this one because this is one of the most famous cases of ghosts in the Pokemon world, that of course being the Lumio City Ghost Girl. Now, on the second floor of the Lumio City's fighting dojo, a Hex Maniac will appear after stepping off of the elevator, saying, "No, you're not the one," floating away very slowly. And that's all we have. I mean, other than her rocking some sick Heelys with that step, like just sliding, we don't really have much information to go off of here. We don't know who she is, where she's at. Now, a similar girl does appear in the Mount Pyre in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, saying the exact same thing. However, I would assume that this is unrelated, given that those are so far away from each other. Continuing on, we're going to go back to the Hoenn region now, since this only happens in the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire games. We have the ghost in Phoebe's room. In Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, just before the initial battle against Phoebe, a ghost specialist, a ghost girl, can appear in her room. For one frame, it appears behind the player character, and then the other frame, it appears sitting in Phoebe's chair. Now, once again, we have no idea who this ghost girl is. We have no story, we have nothing to go off of. However, Phoebe is a ghost type specialist. It's possible maybe it was attached to one of the Bannettes, one of the toys there that she has. It's possible that maybe it's something she brought with her from Mount Pyre. I know her grandparents both work there, so it's possible that that could be what happened, but this is another unsolved ghost girl case. Alright, so this case is actually from the Sun and Moon demo, which makes it pretty unknown to a lot of people, but it's super interesting because I didn't know about this until researching for this and playing through the demo again, but here we are. In this Sun and Moon special demo version, there's a girl in Halloui City who says that she wants to sail to meet her parents again, but she's very nervous about boats and asks to be seen off to her journey by the player. She thanks the player for encouragement by giving them a comment shard and walks away, just to disappear behind a passing Machamp. Now, once again, don't have a ton of information about this. There's no other character that speaks about this girl, but it's assumed that she's nervous about boats. She may have passed in a boating accident. Another case from the Generation 7 games, this time being Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, is of the Trainer School. Now, the player can meet a little girl who is accompanied by a Drifloon at the Trainer School. who will ask the player to solve 7 different mysteries around the school. Once all of these mysteries have been solved, the girl will give the player a pair of wise glasses just as the school's security guard shows up. The girl then disappears, and the guard tells the player that they were alone the entire time. Ooh. But yeah, so it's assumed that since she's accompanied by a Drifloon, that the Drifloon carried her off and never seen again. But here she is, giving us missions for some reason, but here she is. So one of the last known cases of ghost girls, I don't know why Game Freak has an affinity for girls passing, but I think actually every case except for the hand and the first section is, yeah, they're all girls. That's interesting. The last case of a ghost girl is in Hammerlock in Sword and Shield. Now, in Pokemon Sword and Shield, a girl named Paula in Hammerlock asks the player to deliver a letter to a boy named Frank in Babylonia. The boy turns out to be an old man who was friends with a girl named Paula when he was younger, but she fell ill and hid from him how sick she was. This caused an argument, and the boy ended up moving away very shortly after. If the player returns to where Paula was, they'll find a Reaper cloth here, implying that Paula passed as a child. She never got to reconcile with her friend, and she has moved on now that her piece has been met. The letter's been delivered, and she's been able to move on. The Reaper cloth's a little creepy, but we're happy for Paula. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel to talk about the creepy ghost instances of the Pokemon main series. If this was something you like, go ahead, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm hopeful that I will be able to beat depression.
Take that, depression!
And continue making more videos for you guys here in the near future. So let me know what you guys want to see. If you want me to continue on with that timeline videos, if you want me to try to make more long format content, and yeah, see you in the next one. Ooh.